because Zach has been, you know, there hasn't been any changes on 7.14 to Zach. Zach received a hotfix in 7.13 that he's still exactly the same as he was. And it's so funny that in that last game we saw it all go all the way through to second rotation, which just hasn't been the case in previous updates.
Well, we are on to pick and ban. Team Singularity, or Singularity UK, are over on the blue side. exceL over on the red. Caitlyn first off the board.
Well, okay. Well, they are going to ban Caitlyn. They do respect Caitlyn despite those attack speed nerfs to her base, scaling attack speed, and there we go. There we go. It is going to be Kale first ban against Kerberos.
It was going to happen. There was no way they were going to let it through. So Kale being taken off the board. Talia targeted at crewman, like we mentioned before. There was no way, again, that was kind of going to get let through.
That's completely expected against crewman. It's something that he loves to play. And I think that's a pretty solid ban against him as well, because you find that Talia fits into a lot of meta compositions right now. She's very good at separating teams. She's very good at finding a split push role because she can shove waves so nicely. And she's incredible in siege compositions, which have been sort of the name of the game in a lot of instances from the compositions that we have seen. So it's good to take it away from crewman because it's a power pick, but also good because it slots into so many compositions right now.
It's fairly safe mid laner as well, especially in the early game. Albeit a Fiora ban targeted towards Shikari. Like we said, the top lane bans, they are super targeted, and it's exactly what they're doing.
So Cho'Gath is open for Singularity UK if they want it. Zach was respected by exceL, so this is just so interesting that we're seeing such different draft strategies for different teams. The interesting thing about the first 3 bans from Singularity UK is you could argue that Caitlyn, very targeted towards Inax, even though she still remains fairly strong, we expect. Inax plays a mean Caitlyn. That's a targeted ban against crewman and a targeted ban against Shikari almost. So there's 3 almost targeted bans. The Caitlyn's a little bit shaky, but 3 almost targeted bans against exceL here.
Won't be surprised to see them lock that Jhin in. It's been high priority thus far, but surprise, surprise. We got that Void Monster, first pick for Singularity UK.
Well, that is definitely not a surprise because he has been so sort of prioritized by almost every team that we've seen on 7.14. But exceL have swung the boat back the way that they won on Monday. Reclamation gets his Thresh, Taxa gets his Kha'Zix. This is no surprise for those of you who have been following exceL, especially on Monday. Big picks for them. Taxa performed so well, and Reclamation, very good.
He was 10-0 at one point.
10-0
on the Kha'Zix. Duskblade, first item, as you would have kind of imagined, but coming in with it again, that does leave a lot of counter pick in the jungle for Singularity UK. They do lock in their Tom Kench, and they do have that Jhin open, so they'll just take that one away.
Yeah, Jhin seems to be on the second rotation for A side, always gets locked in. It's a very strong AD carry right now. And, you know, he's very happy to take it away because of that power that lethality brings. Xmati going to get his hands on that. exceL are going to lock in the Tristana, which has been something that Inax played quite frequently. Tristana has made her way back into meta through no real changes to her kit, but just how powerful she is at pushing structures. Like we said, pushing structures is kind of the name of the game right now in League of Legends. Absolutely,
and Tristana does a good job of that. Yes. Only just a good job. Does a fantastic job. Syndra being banned away here from exceL. And now it's Singularity UK's turn to decide. I must explain, Team Singularity do have a team over in Denmark. That's why they're called Singularity UK. We haven't had time to update that. But let's have a look what they ban away here. Mid lane is left. Orianna's going to get taken off the board. Another really safe pick.
Looks like we are completely limiting mid lane picks here. And it's very interesting because this Cho'Gath could effectively go anywhere. We saw crewman play it in mid lane for exceL. We saw Candyfloss take it to the jungle in the last game of today. And we saw Kerberos on Monday take it to the top lane where he got absolutely dominated by a Gnar. So obviously, there's a lot of ways that they can sort of mix this pick up here for Singularity UK. It looks like by banning mid lane picks, especially mid lane picks that Brad is good with, that we might see Brad take this to the mid lane, because I wouldn't expect that they would gut themselves by taking away some picks that Brad is good with without him already expecting to be taking Cho'Gath to mid.
Yeah, and that Corki and Malzahar bans coming through. Singularity UK taking away the Corki, not too much of a surprise, but that Malzahar ban comes out a little bit of left field.
I think it's something that Brad plays specifically as well. Interestingly, this could be a pretty solid Vixer pick here, because I don't think there are many good things left, and he's got great wave clear.
Oh,
that is
instead.
a meme. It's not that much of a meme, but it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Okay.
I'm thoroughly looking forward to this, because I'm guessing Shikari's taking this to the top lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen jungle Maokai already, and that was played by, I wouldn't say Scudzy or...
It was played by Dan in Challenger Series.
Dan in Challenger Series,
but this is going to be top lane because Kha'Zix has already been locked in.
That is very true. Maokai, though, incredible ganker, but also incredible at just the sustaining in the lane in the top lane. Rek'Sai will be the lock here for Singularity UK, and now they just need to pick their mid. Or, again, Cho'Gath could be mid lane. They could pick mid or top at this point.
Yeah, it very, very well could shift, but Brad is very good at Victor, and it is kind of remaining as one of the best mid-lane picks that are left up right now. So Brad going to get his hands on a pick that he is very comfortable on. I think I've seen him perform on this pick the most. And Kerberos is going to pilot the Cho'Gath in the top lane once more, but exceL have very cleverly given Shikari last pick here, because he has been a major winning factor for them in a 1v1. And versus Kerberos, he could very easily... Oh, wait, no second, he's already locked in the Maokai. I have no idea what I was talking about. That's actually not as dominant. This is going to be interesting, because exceL have kind of thrived on the split push pressure of Shikari, but I guess the way that Maokai works here is if you want to run at the AD carry with your Cho'Gath, you just throw down Nature's Grasp and he gets stuck. And then the AD carry can just bounce away. So
that's the idea. A lot of mobility, tools as well with a Thresh Lantern. So you can imagine Inax is going to be fairly safe in the team fights, or at least where Cho'Gath is. Now will be a Kassadin lock-in here for exceL to round out the composition. Kassadin to the Victor. Pretty boring, in all honesty, for the first few minutes until Victor upgrades his Hex Core. I mean, you're not going to look for much trading. Kassadin, very safe laner, as we all know, and as soon as he hits that level 6, there's a lot of roam potential as well.
Yeah, Kassadin used to be punished pretty heavily in the laning phase, but not so much anymore. There's a lot of ways for him to survive. He gets the magic shield on his Q, which allows him to trade fairly evenly, especially with those ranged carries like Victor. Post 6, though, you imagine it's going to be tough for Victor to be able to kite against the Kassadin. You have to really place your gravity field essentially on top of you, bait him to Riftwalk into it, and try and trade that way. Otherwise, it's just one of those scenarios where once Lich Bane's completed for Kassadin, he can very effectively burst down the Victor. Yeah,
oh, absolutely. I mean, Rod of Ages, Lich Bane, kind of a classic build. But looking at those compositions coming up, Singularity UK and exceL, who do you kind of favour going into this one, just looking at the drafts?
I mean, I think the Siege from Singularity is really good. I'm not sure how this top lane Maokai is going to work. I imagine it's strictly there to peel against the Cho'Gath. So I think if I were to just go... the problem is I know how exceL are playing right now, and I think with Brad in mid lane, there might be a small mismatch between him and exceL. I'm going to go with exceL just for the fact that I think that on singular bases, I think that they have a better lane matchups because of the players. But I think there's a very good composition coming out from Singularity UK.
I completely agree. I also think there's a lot of siege on the side of exceL as well. So I'm going to go on the other boat. I'll go with Singularity UK. I'm going to kind of stick with my pre-prediction. I want to see the Cho'Gath pop off, in all honesty. But that mid lane's going to be very interesting. Like you said, maybe Brad Tech a little bit kind of mismatched in that regard.
He might have improved over the last few months. The thing is, I haven't seen him for a few months, so he might have improved.
Well, we'll have to wait and see as we jump onto the Rift. Our second game of this evening, Singularity UK over on the blue side, exceL over on the reds.
This is interesting because we saw Kerberos really struggle against the Gnar in lane, which is expected. Cho'Gath versus Gnar is a bad matchup for Cho'Gath. This matchup is not as bad. You're not going to dominate a Cho'Gath as a Maokai, so Shikari is playing for the team specifically, which is very different to the way that we've seen Shikari play in previous iterations. He's always been a split pusher, he's had Kled, he's had Fiora, and like you said, he's had Gnar, so he's always functioned as a split pusher in some way, shape or form. This time round, he's not. This time round, he's playing a tank, which is very different. But a tank that can shove lane, Maokai can do that throughout the game. And exceL's also running double teleport here, so very good way to take Victor out of teamfight situations, which Victor loves, is by going into a split push. And then eventually, as the game progresses, the mismatch between a Victor and a Kassadin on a 1v1 basis is going to be very, very hard for Victor to cope with. So exceL need to get a good laning phase and transition to a 1-3-1 to kind of shut down this Victor, stop these teamfights from happening, stop the sieges from happening, which require every part of the Singularity roster to be together to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Singularity's sieges is their ability to actually damage the turrets. Yes. I mean, you've got Matty on this Jhin, not heavily auto-attack reliant heavily auto-attack reliant, not much attack speed.
It's a slow attack, the slow attacks, right?
You've got Brad Tech with the Lich Bane. You can imagine he's going to build that first item after finishing the Hex score. Kerberos has to walk up, Cesar also has to walk up to the turret, and then you look at exceL and you say, okay, so what siege do they have? They haven't really got too much defense because exceL has to walk up, but Inax is going to be a god at taking these turrets on the Tristana, so both of the teams have good and bad portions of the siege.
So exceL have good siege in the sense that we have seen this combo. I think Dan pulled it off in the Challenger Series for Wind and... Was it Wind and Rain that Dan played for? No, it's not Wind and Rain that Dan played for Origin. No, I'm still memeing here. I can't remember. Dan played for a roster in the Challenger Series.
It was Wind and Rain.
It was Wind and Rain. Oh, okay. So he played for Wind and Rain in the Challenger Series, and Dan played the Maokai, in which he essentially slammed down Nature's Grasp under a turret, which bought space for Tristana to just get a big explosive shot on, and they took a turret. Because you have to get out of the way of Nature's Grasps just for the pure threat that it's going to root you, and you could potentially get then locked down and CC'd and killed. So you have to back away from it because it's a pretty intimidating ability when it very slowly, but arguably annoyingly, wait a second, that's a very early gang.
A very early gang, that's a root as well. Inax is going to go down, that fourth shot finding its way to Inax. Matty picks up first blood. Wow,
and the flashback from Inax as well. Taxa's going to try and punish this by going for the blue buff, but what a move by exceL, coming from the jungle, the guy that had to have a big impact against Taxa. A very early gank in this bot lane, and it's to relieve pressure because Inax and Reclamation have been very good on a 2v2 basis. Impressed with Matty there as well, didn't even need to flash to get the kill. And exceL suddenly already under the gun here from another new team in the UK Premiership. Not a good start for these guys, because one of their major win conditions has been Shikari on a split pusher, and he's not on a split pusher. They need their other lanes to do well.
I did pin him as this Danish superstar, and you could see kind of the path he took. Raptors into red, into golems, tunnel under, get the kill. Didn't even blow flash either. A very critical ability for Rek'Sai in the early game. Not blowing that and getting first blood straight onto Matty, he's going to have a much easier time in this lane.
It was definitely... wait a second, is that a Doran's Ring start for Matty?
It is indeed, yeah. I just noticed that myself. I think that's a mistake somehow.
I'd love to see the... I don't know if we can see the keystone that he's running, but maybe it's for the mana regeneration.
I can imagine that's a mistake, in all honesty.
Do you get AP scaling on your bouncing grenade?
Traps, I believe.
Traps. I actually don't know what the AP scaling is on the if it is on bouncing grenade or if it's on the trap, but I'd love to see it because that is a bit of an interesting start for Matty.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a mid lane main and just was so practiced to going in Doran's main, or a top lane tank main and just so practiced going Doran's Ring.
Well, we'll never know.
What's even more impressive is the fact that he got a kill with Doran's Ring. So
yeah.
I'm actually going to have to look at the scalings.
It's probably a good idea. Shikari and Kerberos just battling out on the top side, and already you can see now Kerberos is actually going to be able to freeze this wave against Shikari. Thing is, Kerberos is not many trading tools whatsoever, and Shikari has so much regeneration in his kit, and both of them starting very aggressive builds as well. Doran's Ring into double potion.
It's not a lane that you're looking to win as either of them, though. And that's better for Kerberos, because Kerberos is just going to scale nicely. He's not going to be pressured by the Maokai. You know, and as a Cho'Gath, you just want the ability to feast for free, get items for free, farm for free, and that's what Kerberos is being allowed to do here versus Shikari on a 1v1 basis. Already taking a small lead in farm, although the wave is kind of shoving towards Shikari, so it's fairly even across the board.
Yeah, that it is. exceL made that early gank. Hasn't been able to make anything too aggressive since. It's very hard to gank Castin once he's 6, and he's already at that level 5 mark. And with the teleport, it's very easy for him to get back to lane. Bratek's had an easy time in this lane. We kind of talked about the little potential he may have in the game against Krumel, but right now he's doing more than fine. Small CS lead for Krumel at this current time, but Bratek going back and getting that first mark on the Hex core is extremely important for the Victor in order to actually clear the back line.
He is starting to struggle on a 1v1 basis, it feels, but he is going to clear the wave quite nicely here. And again, everything apart from that bot lane gank has resulted in a very even early game. And you can already see 10 CS starting to open up for Matty. Not a position that Reclamation and Inax would have liked to have found themselves in, but they'll bounce back, hopefully. Keep themselves in the running, but realistically, if you're Singularity, you're going to look to pressure that wound on the exceL roster. If you can put Inax behind, I think you sort of isolate one of the major win conditions for exceL here, because again, Shikari is not on a carry champion this time round. So if you can put pressure on Inax, it's up to Krumel, and we all know that Castin, if he's even by himself, it's very difficult as a Castin to single-handedly carry the game, because you can only focus one target at a time.
Yeah, it's going to want to be put in that split push role.
Dancing Grenade's got a 60% ability power ratio.
Oh, there we go.
And there's 100% on the trap.
Oh, there we go. I was right.
So we were both right.
Yeah. Okay, so, I mean...
So you get slightly more impactful grenades in the early game.
It's not a build I've seen, in all honesty, but, I mean, if it works, it works. Need to pick up first blood.
I mean, you're not looking to trade with your basic attacks as a Jhin, right? So...
Deathfire works as well. Deathfire has got an AP maybe portion to it.
Yes.
Trying to make all possible reasons
I mean,
for it to work.
we have to think of an actual reason why he will have gone Doran's Ring other than just a misbuy, and it could have very well have been for the grenades.
Yeah, there we go. We made it work. krumel popping back and getting the Catalyst. Now he's going to be almost immortal against this Victor, and the Victor's going to shove him in over and over again. But again, CS lead for krumel. Not something you usually see in the range versus melee matchup.
I mean, kruml's just incredibly good at, you know, mechanically last hitting, and he always seems to be zoning Bradtech out now post 6, which I think Bradtech's playing almost too scared in this scenario. He's just letting this happen. I want to give a big shout out to exceL as well. I mean, taxer has been farming to try and combat that early pressure that exceL put down, but they are very even on farm right now. This is unlike the matchup with taxer. Taxer usually pulls ahead in farm if he can't impact the early game, but exceL has done a great job of keeping toe-to-toe here, especially now finishing up that tier map.
Yeah, much better clear than that's Camps. Now, he has got 54 to the 49 CS attack, so he's actually going to meet him here as well. Both have red buff, but Taxer being level 7 wants to work towards the Edge of Night. Only has the longsword in his infantry at the moment.
Dustblade.
Dustblade, yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
I don't know what I said.
You said Edge of Night, which is another lethality item.
Another good item, yeah.
Yeah, but Dustblade, again, a lot of people talking about the Dustblade changes that were a hotfix. It was 50 damage at level 1, but no one buys Dustblade at level 1, so that doesn't matter. And at about level 9, I think it's 15 damage. So it's a 15 damage nerf to Dustblade at level 9. Not the biggest nerf in the world, really, so Dustblade still remains a very, very strong item. Yeah,
it doesn't really do much at all, to be honest. Still does a fair bit. Shikari, though, might be in a little bit of trouble here. Cesar is off to the side, but Taxer's got the almighty flank. Here comes Nature's Grasp. Cesar's on the side still. Root up from Kerberos. Shikari is going to be aggressed on here. Cesar's going to get that knock up. Kerberos devouring him with that feast. Abyssal Voyage from Shifter as well to send Matty up to that top side. Oh. Nice rotation from Singularity.
Great rotation, because off the back of that, Shikari goes down. This could even be, with the wave pushing in, a first turret for Singularity UK, and suddenly the big boys of the UK scene, the old guard, are being schooled on the new League of Legends on 7-14, and Singularity are bringing it to exceL. What a turnaround for these guys in terms of just really coming in on bursting to the ESL Premiership, because that is fantastic to have new teams performing incredibly well. And exceL on the back foot already, almost 2,000 gold behind. The 2v2 matchup winning for Singularity. First turret of the game winning, but Taxer doing Taxer things is going to go straight for this Drake, which is needed. They need something back here.
Winning, winning, winning. Taxer taking that Ocean Drake. Will be a little bit of compensation, but again, exceL, they need to perform that 1-3-1 like we were talking about. They need that Castlin in a side lane. Has almost finished Rod of Ages, so he will be scaling up there and ready to kind of meet Bradtech. But the problem is, Bradtech is dealing handily with him now. He can just clear waves without too much of a worry. And Kerberos, he's got Merc Treads, he's got a little bit of armor, and rushing a lot of armor actually into the matchup of Inax, and even going towards a possible, and we didn't see it last game, but a possible Righteous Glory first item.
Yeah, potentially there. You can see Maokai's actually...
Oh, Taxer's in a lot of trouble. Oh, Void Rush from Cesar, flash
nice
from Taxer
flash,
though.
Nice flash.
That is very hard to time sometimes.
Yes.
That Void Rush coming out for Cesar was quite key for him.
I like this actually, because Cho'Gath has got a very reliable wave clear, and with Shikari now staying bot, he will be a target for Matty and Shifter, because the wave clear of a Maokai just isn't that strong. exceL trying to respond quickly here, but they might be too late. I think this might have been an out rotation by Singularity once more.
Nature's Graph's come out. Those kiddies are going to find Cesar, but he is going to get devoured by the Tom Kench. Teleport here from Kerberos actually is going to hold that minion, but he does cancel it as he walks back down the river. Very fantastic pathing here from Cesar once again. Taxer just being kind of taken out the game has had no impact whatsoever.
Matty's got the Dustblade, did just proc it, however. So that'll go on to cool down very shortly. But that is a big, big pickup for Matty as well. Knight and Spike for Jin gives him a lot of single target burst. Things have now started to even out between the two teams, though. Despite the early tower, exceL have just managed to even the CS. Even in top lane and bot lane seems to be going back to more of an even footing as Kerberos again pushes up. And this is one of the mistakes I think exceL made in draft. They put Shikari on something that wasn't a lane dominant pick, and he couldn't punish this Cho'Gath top lane pick for Kerberos, and that's what I was worried about. I don't know whether they got baited into thinking that it was a mid lane Cho'Gath because of the mid lane bans coming out and Brad limiting his own pool. But Kerberos being given a free lane on Cho'Gath was probably a mistake for me. I would have liked to have seen one of the major win conditions, which has been exceL's win conditions in pretty much every game I've ever seen them play in recent memory. Shikari just being a monster in the side lane and just dominating. Can't do that on a Maokai. That's why I was slightly worried.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really play to his strengths.
No.
That's something we tagged exceL as this old school team that has a lot of knowledge and has been around a long time. So their draft may be a bit wonky here. Righteous Glory finished with Kerberos as well. But once again, I was about to say, rotations. Monty would love what he's seeing right now. Tier 1 turret might just go down if they hit it a couple more times, but Shikari is going to be here with Taxa. Nice knock-up actually onto Reclamation. Void Rush to get out of the way, but Flay the box, he's going to go down. Taxa finds a kill, and now Singularity forced to flash away. Taxa jumps in, but Kerberos is going to be here. Feral Scream not really doing all too much. The heal actually has to get blown there from Inax to save Taxa's life.
They're going to siege again now. exceL on a very low amount of HP. Kerberos has that potential to just walk in.
Kerberos, oh, here comes Nature's Grass. Once more, those kittens slowly making their way towards Team Singularity. Hook onto Kerberos. Does get devoured again. Shifter, the saving grace, and Matty just playing so aggressive, stepping up to Shikari, knowing he's got no health.
Yeah, and the Dustblade now open for Matty as well. Taxa on the sideline, regenerated some HP, maybe looking for an opportunity. exceL have been fighting with their lives to defend this mid lane tier 1 going down. exceL tries to do what he can, but Shikari being so low, the hook doesn't land. This is tense between these two teams. Shikari can't frontline like this. exceL might have done enough.
Yeah, the A-Ram is over. exceL now retreating to their jungle, as with Singularity. exceL did end up spawning as well mid that fight, so was able to come back to the lane if necessary. Is actually just going to go back to farming here. And now those boosts of swiftness picked up by Matty. So again, another really nice spike for him. Can now chase down Inax, can run away from Nature's Grasp. We're going to give him a lot of mobility, which the Jhin needs.
Inax is a little bit away. I think he's working towards his first attack speed item now, but you can see Matty already at that item spike. They haven't yet managed to exploit it to a great extent, though. We're just waiting to see Taxa finish up his build. It looks like he's prioritizing the Dustblade over the Warrior enchantment. That is where he is going. Yeah. Going towards the Dustblade first.
Makes a lot of sense. He did it in his game in Masters earlier this week. Did exceptionally well, but was already miles ahead by this point in the game. We have 15 minutes in.
Abyssal Mask.
There's been one turret take from Singularity. They've weakened the bottom, they've weakened the mid, setting themselves perfectly up for the next few minutes. Abyssal Mask finished here from Shikari. Thought he was laning against Kerberos. Turns out, actually, you're laning against Matty and Shifter now. Oh, Inax jumps over the wall.
What are you doing? What are you doing, Inax?
All right. Just wanted a bit of poke, want a bit of jostle. Abyssal Voyage used into the mid lane, though. Matty is going to escape with his life. Again, a fantastic rotation from Singularity. Results in another turret.
Man, they are playing this Tahm Kench better than I have seen a lot of other UK teams play it. Oh, here we go. exceL's got to be careful.
exceL, flash, knock up, curtain call was opened. Void Rush to finish off the kill. exceL finds one. Shikari came right from the side. Did use that Nature's Grasp. Oh, nice play actually by Reclamation. He's going to find that hook as well. That might just be exceL going down again. Shikari actually securing that one for himself. His first kill of the game. But Singularity once again coming out on top.
It feels like Singularity are the human walking the dog and exceL are on the lead because they are dragging them around the map right now. And exceL are very, very slow to respond. Very slow to respond, but it was a good move by them now.
That hook hit. Shifter is caught inside that box, but Reclamation's in a 1v4. Shikari's rooted up on the sidelines. Maybe Reclamation didn't want to follow that one too far with the amount of members of Singularity there, but makes it out alive.
I mean, I think actually slow to respond is the bad way of putting it. They are getting out-rotated and they just aren't predicting it well enough. As Taxa looks to go 1v1, gets rooted up here.
Nice root.
Yeah, Matty almost going down. Dustblade not yet finished with Taxa. There might have been the kill if he had it. Wait a second, Shikari with this Abyssal Mask needs to be careful, but will escape as the the Infernal Drake is the Drake that comes up. And with Matty being so far away, this would have to be a miracle steal, you feel, for exceL here.
No, I don't know. There are a lot of HP. exceL's going to go in. The spike comes through a little bit early, and Victor steals it. Bradtech secures the Baron. exceL is going to find himself Shikari. Bradtech is just going to chomp him down with the Chaos Storm. Inax narrowly avoiding that rupture from Kerberos.
Massive win for Singularity, George. Massive, massive win. exceL had a man advantage, and they didn't play it right. exceL is standing on top of a control ward. I mean, no one was going to go near him.
decided didn't want it. You can have the
I don't even know if he was in the brush, you know. I think he was just maybe
talking. He thought he was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe he's looking in the item shop, I don't know.
Tough for exceL because that was one of the ways they could have found their way back in, but Singularity, they knew that they had the disruption necessary. Drake was doing a lot of work for them. Knew they had the ability to just walk in and force exceL off, and BradTech playing Victor in an incredibly good, way that you'd expect him to. In those kind of pit scenarios, just tries to control the area with the Chaos Storm, tries to control the area with the Death Ray. And again, like you said, the smite was just too early from Taxa.
The thing is that the Dragon even did reset mid-smite. So the Dragon reset, gained however much HP, and the smite came through obviously a little bit early. Now Singularity actually setting up a lot of vision around this Rift Herald. That turret's going to go down. Shikari can't really do much at all. No extra help from anybody else. Singularity on an absolute tear. 3,000 gold lead at 80 minutes doesn't seem like a lot, but all tier 1 turrets are down for exceL.
Yeah, that's a big, big win because they have been out-rotating exceL as it stands, and exceL have been unable to respond. Shikari is pushing lanes slower than I've ever seen Shikari push a lane before because he's on Maokai. Doesn't shove things incredibly well at this stage in the game. And exceL weren't even able to capitalize because vision control of these neutral objectives has just been so good for Singularity.
Oh, exceL. He's going to use that Prey Seek to hit Inax, just fending him off Kerberos so he can actually farm underneath that turret safely.
BradTech's just been doing his job as well, just farming. Farming up, safe against exceL, and I actually think as coming in as a support, as a substitute is actually one of the best ways you can play. Just don't let exceL get a lead. Farm under your turret. Victor's very good at doing that. Stop this Kassadin from rolling out. Stop this Kassadin from getting in the lead too far, and actually, because exceL are behind, they can't actually enact their 1-3-1 because you can't pull a 1-3-1 when you don't have lanes that are ahead in the side lanes. And let's be honest, Shikari's not exactly a split push champion. He's a Maokai, so he's not going to be 1v1ing a huge amount. As it looks like we have a...
Oh, BradTech getting jumped on. Chaos Storm used very defensively, that gravity field deterring exceL.
Is that a Cho'Gath that is going towards an Triforce?
It does look that way, doesn't it? I mean, it makes a lot of sense. They got the Phage, the dagger. So yeah, Triforce on the Cho'Gath.
Split push Cho'Gath, boys.
Split push Cho'Gath. exceL has found Reclamation. Oh, Root does end up landing.
Well, it's again Taxa in the mid lane. Taxa in the mid lane.
Taxa in the mid. exceL is going to get slowed down with that Force Pulse though. Abyssal Voyage is going to get followed through. Taxa in a lot of trouble. Flash knockout from exceL. That's another kill. exceL secures his second one of the game. Back to the void with you, Kha'Zix.
Shifter has been an absolute monster this game. For me, despite everything, despite exceL doing, I think he's been MVP for me. These Tahm Kench rotations, these Tahm Kench ultimates have been unbelievably good at putting pressure on the exceL roster. Every time someone's out of position, they get punished. Every time there is an opportunity to make a rotation with them, they get punished. And looks like they are trying to put pressure as a 5 onto this bot lane tier 2. Inax is saying, no, wait guys, if you can just defend it long enough, I'm going to try and take this top lane tier 1, but I don't think he's going to get back in time. I think this should be an easy turret for Singularity to push onto here. Yeah,
exceL is actually on the other side of that wall as well, so pretty easy turret. There comes the Nature's Grasp, but all line up in a perfect line. There we go, Singularity teamwork. Shikari, though, is in a lot of trouble. Hang on, Reclamation just dives straight in, trapped in his own box, and Kerberos just devours him. Feasted up with those 8 stacks. Curtain Call was opened up as well. exceL are going to have to back off for the meantime. Taxa takes one on the exit.
And they get the turret anyway. Reclamation making some pulls and going in on Tahm Kench. Both the times he has done that, exceL have been punished. Big front line that you just can't help but hook here. Shifter and Kerberos. And Kerberos especially being such a large character model. Champion model, which just means it's so easy for him to get hooked up by the Thresh, and that's not the target you want. You hook the Cho'Gath, you just pull him closer to nomming on your AD carry.
You pull the Victor, you pull the Jhin, but with that beefy front line, Singularity are more than happy to play up against the turret like that.
And even if this goes towards the late game, you feel that there's still an incredibly strong late game composition from Singularity. Victor scales up so well, Jhin with the lethality changes scales up so well, Cho'Gath scales up so well.
Oh, hey BradTech, Taxa's going to chase you down. Abyssal Voyage comes through, and Shifter and Matty are there. exceL looking for a re-engage, though. Inax in a lot of trouble. Does jump, does heal away, ends up flashing as well. exceL still on the run, Singularity chasing. Shikari is going to come around from the side and halting the Singularity advance.
And again, again using that Tahm Kench ultimate to try and punish exceL's maneuvers. Every single time, exceL get away with it, but they burn some key summoner spells on Inax to get away with it for just 1 kill in the blue buff. Yes, they've killed Bradtech. Yes, you've got a little bit further ahead on Taxa, but I mean, this is just wonderful play from Singularity UK.
Macro domination, I think, is what the word I'd use at least. Oh, Krumel is going to get chased. Doesn't get knocked up though. Very mobile on the Kassadin, but
8
Kerberos, I'm still thinking, Triforce? Really? But
I mean, it becomes split
he's
push.
2-0.
Split push Cho'Gath, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the movement speed's pretty good. You go with the...
oh, Cess has been caught out here. Taxa's going to find him. Nice tunnel away. Bradtech is there to dissuade him as well. Oh, Matty spotting him out. Kurgankul's going to get opened up. Kerberos, he's going to nom him, but Cersei goes over the wall and steals it with the Void Rush. Dragon over to Singularity as well. Taxa caught between a rock and a void creature, ends up falling.
The collapse from Singularity is just far better, and exceL are just getting caught out time and time again. They don't seem to be playing as a unit. They can't group up because their composition doesn't seem to want to allow it. They can't win in the side lanes. They have just been out-maneuvered as exceL does actually make his own little outplay and steals away the blue buff there.
That was cruel. Right in front of Kerberos' face. Now, what can exceL do? Because we mentioned Shikari...
Second item spike for Tristana. Yeah. Sorry, I was about to just sort of...
I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, Duskblade has been finished. You've got Warrior Enchant for Taxa trying to make something work now. You haven't got the second item spike on Krumel, but Inax, like you said, needs to get that Infinity Edge.
Yeah. I mean, the problem, I would almost argue that maybe even a Bladed Alluring King on this Tristana would be good this game after... I know you might not want to go that and go for a Rapid Fire Cannon instead, but genuinely think that you might need that to help you kite. It's either that or you're going to be relying on just Reclamation and Shikari to do the peeling for you. And once that Nature's Grasp goes down, and you've got to say, Singularity have been doing a really good job of doing the safety dance, I like to call it, around it. They just stand up in a line so it only hits one of the members and everybody else doesn't get affected.
Hook misses. Sessa takes the ward. Singularity with perfect vision control as well over that red side jungle. Taxa, he's up in the top lane. He's looking a little lost at the moment. He needs to be able to defend mid. Look at the Singularity push here. Cess has been very good at rotating with Shifter. A very underrepresented stat, I think, is the ability for supports to spend a lot of their time around their jungler. Especially Tahm Kench, his ability to Abyssal Void them anywhere on the map is very important. Cessa not having the old Void Rush where he could zip around to wherever he wanted to.
I had questions about how this bot lane from Singularity UK would perform. They are no longer questions. They are... I'm impressed. You know, at the very least, I'm impressed with the way that Matty, and specifically Shifter. I mean, Shifter has been a monster this game for Singularity, just making those abilities to put Matty in a position where he can capitalize on a team fight. They can punish exceL's poor performance and poor positioning. exceL are in turtle mode right now. They want to get Tristana to a little bit of the later game. They want to make it so that exceL can solo carry in a side lane, potentially on this Kassadin, but Cho'Gath going Triforce does make it very difficult.
Teleport in from Kerberos here. They were trying to actually collapse on Shikari. A piece.
And they're just going to rotate to top. Yeah, the teleport comes through, but they're just going to rotate to top, and exceL not in a position to defend it because Inax has just gone mid, and he's going to get caught out potentially by Jhin. He's forced to jump away.
Yeah, Prey Seeker did land, but didn't want to follow it in. Kerberos, very, very strong. Very, very scary. That Triforce looking pretty devastating. Taxa jumps over the wall. Here comes the Abyssal Voyage. Nature's Wrath is going to roll through Singularity. Not rooting 1, rooting 2, rooting 3. Shikari almost gets rooted saying that. Singularity now pushing on this turret. Can Taxa clear the wave? I don't think so. Still Shikari trying to step up, trying to do something. That's a hook onto Cessa. Now Inax has joined the fight. He gets devoured. Shifter's out of there. There comes the Chaos Storm, and the massive amount of damage does just execute Shikari. Kurganku gets opened up, and Inax has to just fly away. Cessa makes his way over the wall, but again has to just make his way out of there. Hang on a minute. Krumel, he's Sonya's. He's gone golden to 4 members of Singularity. Does manage to use the ultimate to get away, but being chased up, that 4th shot rains in for 500 damage. And now Kerberos underneath the turret, and Shifter once more devouring everybody left, right, and center, kicking all of Singularity's members alive.
The team play from Singularity is just so good right now, and exceL look washed up compared to the team play from these guys. They are rotating so well. exceL had no business defending that tier 2 turret. They had nothing there to warrant it. yet they tried to do it regardless. They would have been better off allowing exceL to try and trade for the bottom lane tier 1, but alas, it's not the case, and they lose an inhibitor turret for it. I have no idea what's gone wrong for exceL here. You have to feel that, again, the bot lane being less dominant because of that early gank from exceL has resulted in a lot of loss of pressure that exceL usually have. And I'm pointing fingers at that draft for Shikari. I just don't know why you'd want to put him on a Maokai when he is so talented as a 1v1 duelist, and you allowed this Cho'Gath to scale up for free. You allowed Kerberos a free game by picking Maokai. I guess you did the only reason is you didn't know that it was going to be Maokai top, but...
Well, we did mention Singularity not playing to Shikari's strengths, picking up this Maokai, but we also mentioned exceL's ability to 1-3-1 as Singularity starts out the Baron. exceL didn't even get a second item Lich Bane, took the Zhonya's instead. Look how fast that is falling as well. Inax is on the side though, maybe Taxa wants to make a play here. Teleport is going to come down from Shikari, but it's going to get smited away. Taxa just gets a knighted. Welcome to the glorious evolution. My name is BradTech. exceL is just going to use that Rift Walk to make his way out of there. Shikari has been found though. Abyssal Voyage again from Shifter. exceL on the side. He finds Matty. Matty uses that flash. Shikari gets chased out using the Chaos Storm. BradTech just doing a whole wonders on this Victor. More supportive mid laner this time. That late game scaling is coming into play. Singularity take mid tier 2 and looking to take the base.
They're going to be able to push on to this mid lane inhibitor turret. I mean, Inax has just sacrificed it. Inax has just gone bot. They are just giving this up again. exceL are bleeding objectives right now. They are 10k gold behind. And Singularity, another new team to the UK Premiership, or the ESL Premiership rather, are looking so good as they just shove onto this bot lane tier 3.
The whole of them have looked absolutely spectacular. Another devour from Shifter. See you later. Oh, Cho'Gath goes spit right back in again. Does get the knock up on Reclamation, but that's going to be about it. Singularity now backing off, looking for another hook, but it's isn't quite going to land. Singularity Siege, like we mentioned earlier, very strong when they can get consistent damage down onto those turrets. That Sheen as well from BradTech's helping out a lot. They're going to go onto the inhibitor. Kerberos looking for a devour. Oh my goodness, Tax's help just disappeared. exceL on the side though. Shikari's going to go in. Incessa, not 1, not 2, not 3 knockups are going to find them. Kerberos just ripping through people with his Triforce. Singularity soloing out exceL members over and over again. Inax and Tax are the last members alive. They can't stop the turrets going down. Tax is just going to have to go back to base. Inax looks lost. Shifter is going to find the kill onto Taxa. That'll be Singularity taking the game quite handily against exceL.
That wasn't even hard for Singularity against a roster of exceL who have been performing so well in the UK scene. It looks like we have a complete shake-up